Hey everybody, welcome to Cara's Cucina. I am so excited about today's guest because she's not only my very dear friend, author and media expert Beth Nydick is here
Thank you.
to share her expertise and her delicious food. And I love when Beth comes to visit because I know I'm going to have a good, clean, healthy meal, a good, clean, healthy cocktail.
For sure.
That is her book, Clean Cocktails. So be sure to check that out. But tell me a little bit about what we're making today.
Today we're making one of my favorites. It's called spring rolls. You've had them in many restaurants, right?
Yes, of course.
But making them at home is super easy with really great ingredients. And you know I love when you know what's going in your food.
Yes,
right.
That's always, I think for both of us, it's very important.
It is, and also the sauce, because you don't know what they're putting in the sauce. And some of that has food allergies.
Right.
You know, there's fish sauce in a lot of the sauces, there's other ingredients that maybe you don't want to have in your system, because bad ingredients in your system make you feel bad.
Gross. And you were just, but you were just telling me, you lost it, and I hope it's okay that we talk about this.
Yeah.
You just lost 15 pounds in the last few months, and not that it was even necessarily like physical weight, fat in your body, it was inflammation because you didn't realize you had an allergy to something.
Yeah, I wasn't realizing how much everything has soybean oil in it.
Yes.
Right, and I do have other food allergies, but as soon as I really did a hardcore elimination diet, and I'm telling, she knows it's not been easy.
No.
But when I don't have a stomach ache every day, and my clothes fit better, so it wasn't like I lost the pounds didn't go to fat or whatever that is.
Right.
Just my bloatiness and my inflammation inside my body is gone.
Yeah.
I forgot to eat like I tell everyone else to eat. I also was adding in a lot of vegan proteins, like vegan cream cheese and vegan sour cream and vegan ice cream and stuff with lots of sugar in it. So I guess the message is look at your ingredients and pay attention that if you get a stomachache every day, write down what you've been eating, and after a week you can see, oh, if I eat bell peppers, I'm burpy.
Yeah.
And that's an indication that your body probably doesn't process it well because you're not supposed to do that when you eat food.
Yeah, exactly. We think it's so normal. That's the thing. We think it's so normal. And I feel like that a lot of that was the catalyst for your book too, right? For this book, which you co-wrote with Tara Roscioli.
Oh, she's the best.
Yes.
We really felt like a lot of and that time I was working more in food, and we felt like a lot of our clients just were either throwing everything away they did during the week on the weekend,
right?
Or they just they realized, wait a minute, if I'm drinking something with blue, I'm putting these awful chemicals into my body.
It's like
the blue carousel.
Exactly.
Or, the simple syrup, or the agave, which I'm not a proponent of, but you don't realize how much stuff's going in there.
Yeah.
Now I feel like when we did the book a couple of years ago, but now I feel like in bars and in restaurants, there are a lot of clean cocktails.
Yes, it's gotten much better, and there's a lot of mocktails, but I feel like at this point, you know what to ask for too. Exactly. So do you have a go-to when you go out to drink that you're like?
Yes, I do. Well, first of all, I ask if they have fresh lime juice.
Okay.
Versus the lime juice that comes in the bottle.
In the bottle, yes.
Because sometimes there's added sugar in that lime juice. So we don't want that.
No.
So fresh lime juice, and I usually do a double with double lime. A double tequila.
Double tequila, double lime? Yeah. There you go. That's my girl.
And sometimes I'll ask for grapefruit juice on the side.
Okay.
Because if you ask for okay, let's go in. If you ask for a margarita without the sugar, you're still paying $16 for tequila, lime, and a little bit of agave. Right? That's really what's in it.
What's in it,
So you're taking out the Grand Marnier, which is sugar, and you're taking out the simple syrup, which is
sugar.
You're paying for tequila and lime with salt on the top. So it's a deconstructed margarita, and then you can reconstruct it at the table. I've had waiters say to me, don't do the margarita, it's twice as expensive.
Yeah.
So not that you want to save money when you go out, because if you're going out nowadays, but you want to make sure that you're saving your gut, because I don't know if you've been reading currently, but all the research is coming to a head right now, and the conversation is that if your gut's not healthy, neither is your brain.
Yeah.
So when you eat too much sugar and you feel anxious, guess what? Your gut's telling you.
Yeah.
Your gut's going hey, wait a minute.
Heads up.
Heads up. So it's really important for me to be able to be an entrepreneur, and for you to be able to sit down and write for 6 hours, or for you to be able to do this for hours and hours, that you're really not only centered, but your body can focus.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that is why, I love what you brought for us today. So we have, these are spring roll wrappers.
These are rice paper wrappers. You can get them in your local ShopRite.
We do not have to go someplace special for this.
And this is just hot water, which I'm going to ruin my manicure, but that's okay for Cara. You got to put this in the hot water, and it might just take a few seconds.
That's fine. So while that's softening up,
right.
We also have this, and you literally just pulled this stuff like out of your fridge. These were like things that you had.
Exactly. You know, because these are things that I always have in my refrigerator. So
Okay.
this is a bag, and this is all Trader Joe's to be honest. A bag of cabbage, which you can find in any supermarket. You don't have to cut it up yourself. I did cut up the peppers, but you, again, in those...
Big girl, I'm so proud of you.
I was trying to cut them really thin. That didn't work that well. But you can get those cut up at any supermarket also.
Yes.
Shredded carrots comes like that, and that's just mint.
Yeah.
And then here is red pepper flakes and sesame seeds, depending on how spicy you want it.
How fiery, yeah.
Right. This is distilled white vinegar.
Okay.
Which is something you probably have in your cabinet for like...
For cleaning.
Exactly. But you can eat it.
You can eat it.
This is maple syrup that I have to tell you that I bought like on the road in upstate New York a couple weeks ago. I stopped. This little girl was selling maple syrup, so you know me.
It's 110% something I would do. I'm like, oh look, a farm stand.
Yeah, so we'll see if we die.
Yeah.
And this is chunky peanut butter.
Hey.
Organic chunky peanut butter. Use any kind you want.
Yum.
And hot water because that's what needs to put it all
To
together.
like pull it all together.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this one's ready. So I'm gonna take it out for you.
Okay.
And you see, like it does get it's easy to break them. That's why so many come in the package. You just put it down on your
Work surface.
your work surface and just kind of
Okay.
smoosh it out so it's round. There you
go.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll put another one in so we can do ones together.
Okay, yeah, because
And
you got to show me how to do
They're
this.
not gonna look like they look in the restaurant.
just
You
a
know,
heads up.
they're just not. But it's something that you can do with your whole family. My husband and I, our kids are in college, so we do this as like a date night event.
Aw.
You know, something that, rather than just sitting down and eating. It's a little bit different, so it's a little bit fun.
Yeah.
You know, like I've made like wontons with my kids. We've made like gyoza with my kids. Like buying all of those things.
So
is easy.
you are, and I love. We've had as our guest, we've had a couple of moms on. So we've and people that we all know. So we've had Christina Bear on, my co-host.
My friend Christina, I love
Marissa
her.
Brainey came and shot one with
All
us.
my friends.
You know, yeah, exactly. So I feel like, and it's so wonderful. First of all, I have to say, for everybody, but women in particular, it's so lovely to have friends who are in different seasons of their life, because it just makes you feel like, especially you, I feel like I come to you and I'm like, I'm going through this, and you're like, oh yeah, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, here's what you do.
It'll be fine.
Yes, yeah, like you'll survive, it's okay.
I promise.
So definitely that. But so for you, you have, adult children. They are off in college, 2 boys.
Yep.
So you're kind of in that empty nester phase, like
am.
getting back to your husband, doing these.
Very true.
Right?
Inviting people over for dinner, so I'm
Inviting
gonna sit with
people,
them
yeah.
by myself all the time. No, but and that's why I mean, like, this could be a date night. This could be Mother's Day. This could be, an activity for your mom's birthday. So everyone's doing stuff together. Okay.
Yes.
So you're ready to make it?
I'm ready.
Pick stuff and put it in. Like, it's really.
Those are the instructions.
Those are the
I got it.
instructions.
Okay.
Take a couple.
Right down the center here?
Yeah, right down the center. And you just put like whatever you want in. Like you could put cucumber if you have shrimp from last night, if you have chicken left over. I like to put mint. You can put parsley, cilantro, basil, like whatever you're feeling is. You can make an Italian one.
Ooh.
Of course, cucina.
Why not?
Or you can make anything else. But again, just like if you're filling up a wonton or filling up what's it called? A dumpling. You don't want to like fill it up too much.
Okay.
So you can put noodles in here, anything you have, like shredded chicken from last night.
Literally whatever was left over. Okay.
Okay. So then you take both sides on the sides. So you're making like a burrito.
Okay.
So you take both sides up and just kind of cover as much as you can. Got it? Of course you do. Then you take this and kind of tuck in everything that's in there. And then you just roll it up. And I'm gonna get us a plate so it looks all nice.
Woo.
And there we go.
So pretty.
Right? Like you can, and I like when you can eat it, because if have stingy kids or a stingy husband or boyfriend, they're not going to eat everything. But when they can see all this stuff, they're like, okay, I eat peppers, I eat carrots, I eat cabbage. I can figure this out.
You're like, I can do this. I can do this.
Exactly.
I love this. Okay, so let's keep going. We'll get our next ones ready. Beth, tell me a little bit about your business these days. So you're a media expert and you help people bring their brands to life, bring them to the forefront, get themselves the press that they need to bring eyeballs to themselves.
Yes, thank you, I appreciate that. I really do. What I really like to do is like find an expert or a thought leader that has a piece of their business running great. great.
Okay.
But they know they need the larger piece to scale to the next level. And part of that piece is always visibility. It's never not visibility, right? It's never like, just don't do extra visibility getting out in front of everybody.
Right.
Because for me, visibility means going to network events, telling you what I'm doing, telling all my friends, I tell everybody everything. And if you watch me, you'll see, because I'm telling you what I'm working on. Because I feel like when you put it out there, somebody's like, oh, my brother's girlfriend's sister works at NBC
such and such,
in Wichita, Kansas. I can help you get on there.
Yeah.
So telling everybody what you need, but actually having a strategic plan for visibility, which means press.
Okay.
And being able to understand that your marketing is great, it's working, right? Your social media is kind of supporting it. You have your idea, you have your program, you have your clients, but what you don't have is that cohesive story that the people out in the world that don't know you yet really need to understand.
Right.
You've heard me say this before. Like,
Yes.
what is that message deep down in your gut that you need the world to understand? I don't know if you have one.
No, we need to. You and I need to work
I was
together.
like, can we do that right
Yeah, I
now?
was gonna say, you want to workshop me right now? Well, I'm gonna pull this one out. We'll put another one
Awesome,
in.
put another one in.
We'll
So
workshop Cucina.
Mine is that I want everyone to understand that they create their own possibility of success.
Oh, I like that.
That's it. It's you are the possibility of it. How many times a day do we talk about somebody's limiting beliefs or somebody's
Yes.
not showing up or not showing up for themselves? Where if you have somebody like me in your corner, not only are we creating the strategic partnerships with press so that you can get to the next level, but we're also building the back end of your business so that you can leverage all of that for monetization.
I love that.
Well, you know how hard you work and how much press you do and how much TV stuff you do. What if you can't make money off of it?
Right. Well, yes, exactly. And that's where it does become a struggle. Absolutely.
Right. And then I find a lot of people, then it's a hobby.
Yes.
Or then you're treading water. My first digital business started in 2009 in food. That's
wow.
that's where the show came out and the book came out of. But after learning and working in it for 15 years and hearing what all my friends were saying was the problem for their business, I'm able to spot the holes.
Right.
So I come in and fill the holes. For those of you that were born after 1975, there's something. I mean, it's before 1975, not after. There's something that used to be called a rainmaker. And most people, when I say that, they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's really coming in and helping you build a brand to get to that goal, get that closer to that talk show you've always wanted, get closer to that everything you always wanted.
Well, and I feel like, because that's something, and you tell me, do you find your clients, some of them even get themselves to that point where, Today's Show calls, but they're not ready. They don't know what to say to them. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, I get that. I get that call a lot. I'm going to be on the Today Show tomorrow. What do I do?
What
after?
do I do? What do I do with it? Yeah.
Right, what do I do before? How do I make this work for me? Because I don't know if you've heard the stories, because I'm in it. I hear it all the time. Where I went on the Today Show. There's a whole story. A candle company went on the Today Show, couldn't fulfill orders. Instead of communicating to their people, we were overwhelmed. We couldn't communicate the orders. They instead got complaints, Better Business Bureau complaints, and they went out of business.
Oh man.
Because everyone comes to me, not everybody. A lot of people come to me. They're like, I want to be on Good Morning America tomorrow, and I'm like, have you been on anything? No. So why do you think you should be on Good Morning America? Because you have a great story? That's not enough anymore.
Right.
If you look at the people on Shark Tank, it's not mom and pops anymore, guys.
No,
the people
they're
who
not.
make $1 million and then go to Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So my advice is always start local, start with the people that you know, but understanding what that message is that you need to get the world to understand. So now that I said all that, what comes up for you? You talk and I'll make this one.
Oh, okay. So I would say for me, it's definitely about, I like to say it's getting people back in the kitchen. It's kind of recreating, that family meal that I grew up with, that you grew up with, And I think also, I guess a subset of that would also be kind of just sharing and promoting Italian and Italian American culture, which I think cooking in the kitchen with family and friends, regardless of what you're making, is so much a part of, the culture that I grew up in.
Right. So you want to share how important it is to have a family meal.
Yeah.
You want to share how important it is for you not only to, oopsie, it broke.
There you go.
And that's okay. We'll put another one around it. Not only is it important for you to cook together, but it's time for you to spend time together.
Right.
So maybe the underlining message is there's different ways to spend time and to express your culture. Cooking is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Because you have your trips to Italy.
Yes.
Right. You do all the different things about Italy. I think it's really more about you wanting to have everyone express their culture in food.
Yeah, I like that.
That would be your message.
That would be the message. There you go.
Right,
I'm ready for the Today Show.
But it's not the message you're going to tell in the Today Show. It's that message that you understand is beneath it.
Is beneath
so that
it.
you can create all your content around it. You can create everything you're doing around it. Because we've talked about this before. I always like 4 different pillars of content.
Yes.
Or sorry, 4 different pillars of ideas.
Of ideas.
That you create all your content out of. So you don't feel like this when you're trying to do stuff.
Right.
You feel very focused. Because that's the #1 entrepreneur problem is I don't feel focused.
I don't feel, I have no idea what, yes, exactly. Then don't know what to do when what's next. All right, our spring rolls are done. We got to make our sauce.
Looks so good.
They look beautiful, the colors.
Right? And so anything you have in your fridge that's colorful, put it in there. And anything like that you have zucchini, so like I would cut that up and put it on the inside so no one can see it.
So no one sees those? Oh, but I love zucchini. I mean, that's never, I don't have to hide
Not
from
my
this.
favorite.
Not
Okay.
your favorite?
So this is organic peanut butter.
Okay.
So we're just gonna put it in here, and we're putting it into hot water, so it kind of melts the
kind of
peanut
like
butter
melt it down a little bit.
You
Yeah.
want to mix as
I will mix.
Okay.
Once
and
you
then
add.
This is the distilled vinegar. This is the maple syrup from the road.
From the side of the road?
From the side of the road, you never know. And then this is how you can either reduce or increase the heat. This is these sesame seeds and red hot pepper flakes. And if you want to, I like things looser.
Okay.
In my sauces, if you want it not so loose,
Less water, more peanut butter.
It's just the way it goes.
Just drizzle it over.
Perfect. You can either dip it in, since we're the only ones eating.
Okay.
You can dip it in, or you can drizzle it over. I always like you can put like a little, like on a plate for a kid. You can put 2 or 3 of them, or for your husband, because. Well, a lot of husbands, boyfriends, men over 25, let's say, just don't eat a breath of food. They just don't. Unless their flavor palettes were expanded as kids.
As
they just
kids,
don't.
yeah.
So this is the way to get them to eat vegetables.
There
And
you go.
I hear that a lot from my friends. They're like, "What did you make?" Or what are you making that you think,
So
Harvey will eat?
yeah.
Whatever it is. But I always like to do it like a little bit like this, because then you feel kind of restaurant-y too.
Yes.
And you feel like, it's a little special. And then if you serve it with like a couple on them, like how gorgeous is that?
Perfect. I
Right?
love this.
And if you're adding chicken, shrimp, meat, whatever you're adding,
Right.
it's a full meal.
Yeah, it really is, because now you're getting your protein, you're getting your
Getting your
veggies,
sauce.
and that flavor is going to come right out of that sauce, which
Exactly.
just check. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Let's set this aside for just a minute, because you are also going to show us a cocktail from your book.
I am, because I love my cocktails.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can't have a good meal without a good something to drink to go along with it.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, ever since you gave this to me many years ago, now I live and die by this book when I have
Bible.
company over. For me in the summer, I love a summertime cocktail. In the winter,
Yeah.
I'm like, I need just hot tea is fine. But you have actually some warm
Like we
cocktails
do.
in here too.
We have an oolong, we have
Yeah.
jasmine.
Yeah.
I'm about tea. So and this whole, actually, a lot of people aren't drinking as much anymore. So there's a whole mocktail section.
A whole
as well.
mocktail chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear by that. But I love this. It's probably the cookbook I grab most often,
thanks,
actually,
Cara.
because I cook off the top of my head. I do.
I know.
You know what I
Me
mean?
too, yeah.
I'm not a recipe person, but I don't know cocktails like that. So I'm like,
Right.
I want something with grapefruit, lime,
Yeah, no,
and
yeah.
I'm like, let me see what Beth has.
We'll have to do another episode where we talk ratios and how you actually make cocktails.
How to make cocktails.
Because that's, I find, really interesting.
All right. So which one are we making today?
It's basically a skinny Paloma with mint.
Ooh.
So-
I love a Paloma.
Right, like who doesn't love Paloma? But as we talked about, sugar.
Sugar.
So we're taking out all
the
the
sugar. Okay.
And instead, we're going to use fresh juice, fresh mint, and grapefruit soda. Sorry,
Ooh,
grapefruit seltzer.
seltzer.
There's no sugar in
So
it,
there's no
but
sugar.
it has that sweetness of it, and it has the grapefruit oil.
Ooh.
That's what gives you the taste. Like when you use lemon juice,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you get the lemon oil in there also.
Yeah.
Because that's what actually gives you that bright
That
flavor
that
underneath.
flavor.
Like you would use for zest.
If you were using the zest or
Right,
something.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and this one's super easy because it's a pump and dump, is what I call it. You like just pump it in there?
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. All
We're
right.
gonna
So
start with mint.
mint, handful of fresh mint.
Right, and this is like what was
We have
left
a-
over.
we have
from
a theme,
making-
yeah.
Making those. Yeah, I tried to make the same things. This is fresh lime juice. And sorry, it's half fresh lemon juice, half fresh lime juice.
Okay.
This is mezcal. I like mezcal for my Paloma. It's a little bit different, but you can use regular tequila, or if you're making a mocktail, nothing.
Nothing.
So, and then fresh grapefruit juice. So I actually went to the store this morning to get to make fresh grapefruit juice. The grapefruits didn't look great.
They didn't look nice.
No, so you can use grapefruit juice. Just make sure nothing else is in it. Like look at the ingredients. It should say grapefruit juice. You know,
I always tell that we made the sauce with the peanut butter, and I always say, you know, your peanut butter should include one ingredient: peanuts.
And salt. Maybe salt.
Maybe salt.
Okay. So when a lot of people don't shake right. A lot of people go, you know, this is like, you really want it. You want to try it?
Yeah. I was
really, really want to get into it. Get a little over the shoulder action. Yeah. You want to feel the container getting really cold.
Get cold in your hand.
Like almost too cold.
Yeah, I remember that
because
tip of yours as well.
Because it's cooling I know, it's cooling your drink. It's not diluting it when you do it that fast. But like, look at how precious is that color.
It's a beautiful
right?
color.
I want to make sure that we have the same amount in both the cups because sometimes, you know, you never know, my measurements can be a little bit off. And then we're going to top this one, like I said, with the grapefruit soda. So again, nice and bright. If you don't like grapefruit soda, you can use something else. If you don't like mint, you can use sage, you can use basil, cilantro, parsley. Like, let's go a little crazy with our herbs because I feel like so many people just hold them for certain meals.
Yeah.
You can put that in everything.
My lavender bush is out of control.
Lavender would be so good in this. So good in this. And there we go, it's your skinny mint Paloma.
I love it. Cheers. Thank you, my dear.
It is pretty good.
It's very good.
But that's what I want people to understand. Like, you don't need to be crazy with the ingredients, and you don't need to go out of, you know, a lot of cookbooks. When we were creating the cookbook, a lot of cookbooks had like these crazy ingredients that you couldn't find in your local bodega.
Right.
And that was like our mantra. Like, if you can't find it at the local bodega in New York City, you can't find it. You can't find it.
You can't find it.
Right, because I'm a Trader Joe's girl. So if I can't find a Trader Joe's, I'm probably not going to be honest. I'm probably not going to make it. So being able to find real ingredients that you understand,
right,
and that you'll drink or eat easily,
yeah,
is really the key for eating healthy. Not even just eating foods that you normally eat, but actually
just in general,
healthy.
Yeah. Like I know what is in this. I know what is in this. I can identify these products.
Exactly. And then you can feel good about eating them because you're like, oh, I had this tasty cocktail and this very tasty spring roll with peanut sauce meal, and I feel good, and I'm not burping, and I don't feel like I have a stomach ache in my stomach. I don't have a I love that word. I don't have a baby, right?
Right, the food baby.
The food baby. And I have energy and I can move on throughout my day.
Awesome. Beth, before I let you go, tell me a little bit about your upcoming program.
I'm so in love with this program. The reason I'm so in love with this program is because the results I see for the women that are in it now. So I open it 2 times a year. It's called Thought Leader Academy.
Okay.
And it's really taking brands that know they need visibility and know they need to get to the next level, but don't really know how.
Okay.
So it's earlier stage men and women, and then I take them through creating their media message, creating their visibility plan, actually getting press. So yes, we're writing pitches, we're editing them, we're doing media, we're finding out who your friend's brother's girlfriend's sister is, right? We're doing all that stuff that you're scared to do, and I hold your hand. So it's a really high touch, small group, and I'm so proud of the women that are in it. And they're like, I can't tell you the emails I get from them in the middle of the week. I did this, I can't do this, I'm having trouble, and everyone is really supporting each other because I'm creating that community of vulnerability, authenticity, and really being open with, you know it, Jersey love. Like, but yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and I understand how scary it is if you're not used to being in the press and not used to being on camera.
Yeah.
And then somebody just giving you a couple pointers makes all the difference.
All the difference in the world.
And that's what I want to do. I want to make that impact on that small scale because I am really, you know me, I get really passionate about it, but like I know the impact I'm making on their lives, make an impact on their families' lives, and it goes out that way.
Yeah, absolutely does.
I think too often in like the coaching business, we get focused on like the high ticket and how much we're going to make and what we're going to do. And in my little corner of the world, I just want to make cocktails. I want to be on national TV.
Yeah.
And I want my friends to come with me.
Yeah.
That's what it lays down to. And everyone can find all the information out on BethNydick.com.
Okay.
And I'm at Beth Nydick at every social media platform there is. You can even just Google my name and you'll find me.
You'll find you. Absolutely. And as always, we will link her up in the description below. You can find Beth's recipes at caradifalco.com, where we will have them. I also have a link to purchase her book as well. So please give her that love and support, because I love and support you so much. Thank you so much.
Wait, I want to say one last thing.
Yes.
If you have a local bookstore, please call them instead of going to the big box stores. We have to support our local bookstores, and every local bookstore can order it from the publisher, and they're happy to do that for you because not only is it supporting them, but it's supporting back into the community, and that's important to me.
Absolutely.
But if not, go to Amazon.
But yeah. If you can't do that, just we'll give you the link below. Guys, thank you so much. And again, as always, recipes are available at caradifalco.com. You can follow me, Facebook and Instagram at Cara Di Falco. Thank you so much, my friend.
you.
I always appreciate your time and insight and inspiration. I will see you guys next week. Have a great week.